welcome to the Martini Shot, home of movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails. My name is Brandon. Before we get into the review of Bad Boys Ride or Die, let's get rowdy like only Miami can with a split-layered frozen cocktail called the Miami Nights. As with all frozen cocktails, this one is going to be built in a blender. For our first layer, let's go ahead and start with 1 ounce of lime juice, followed by 1 ounce of cream of coconut. And now to give it a bit of a Miami club vibe, we're going to be using some kinky blue liqueur. If you don't have that, you can always use your preferred brand of sugary blue liqueurs or just blue curacao. Either way, you're going to be doing 1.5 ounces. Add 1.5 cups of ice and then blend until smooth. Go ahead and pour that into your hurricane glass, and if you want, you can save some for later just to add to the layering effect. Go ahead and stick that glass into the freezer to keep everything nice and chilled, and go ahead and clean out your blender. We're gonna be starting on that second layer, which is going to involve 2 ounces of cream of coconut, 2 ounces of pineapple juice, and 1.5 ounces of white rum. Go ahead and throw in another 1.5 cups of ice and blend until smooth. Take your glass out of the freezer and slowly pour in the next layer. And from there, you can go ahead and add a little bit more of that blue layer if you'd like on top. And for a garnish, we're gonna be going with a maraschino cherry and a cocktail umbrella. And there you go, now you have the Miami Nights. It's a pretty solid balance between nice, refreshing coconut and sweet fruit flavors. That mixture of the kinky and the lime really packs this tart punch to it, but that heavy layer of rum and coconut really kind of mellows it out, makes it from being too overtly sweet. However, there is a good amount of sugar in this, pretty akin to a lot of beachside drinks. I will admit this one is a little bit of a hassle to make because you have those 2 different layers, but you could always try combining them into one single layer. I'm sure you'll still get a pretty satisfying final product. But overall, this is nice, tropical, sweet, great for the summer weather, and also finally a great use if you happen to have bought a bottle of Kinky in the past for a party and it's been sitting on your shelf for 5 years. Now you have something to do with it. Now that we have our drink, let's get right into the review. It must feel elating for Adil and Bilal to have a well-performing summer hit on their hands after their previous film Batgirl was canceled despite nearing completion for a tax write-off. Boy, I'm sure somebody feels stupid. I'm sure one out-of-touch, art-hating, incompetent, sleazy, ass-headed, money-grubbing dickhead is feeling mighty silly right now. I would not call myself the biggest Bad Boys fan by any means. Hell, even just a fan is a bit of a stretch. Yet I do gotta pay some respect to Ride or Die because just enough works here to create a fun, if not slightly forgettable, buddy cop shoot 'em up. Bad Boys Ride or Die houses the same endearing banter between the lead stars that won the hearts of many over the years, while continuing to push the envelope with the series' batshit action sequences. There are some mind-boggling technicals at play here, delivering on the kind of high-octane insanity that would even make Michael Bay blush. These sequences and the leads are what you're here for, doing their best to make you forget you're watching a pretty by-the-numbers story about police corruption and taking the law into your own hands. The positive elements ultimately made me a bit more forgiving of its faults, making an otherwise mindless movie into something that you can actually kind of appreciate. In Ride or Die, hardened detectives Mike and Marcus work to clear the name of their beloved fallen police chief after shady information leads the department to believe the chief was working with cartels. Their snooping brings them into the crosshairs of the malicious mastermind who manages to turn every gang and even the police force onto taking them down. The titular bad boys will need to get their hands dirty in order to prove their innocence and save the ones they love. For a guy that, according to some people, nearly killed a man on live TV, Will Smith seems to be doing pretty alright. His reteaming with Martin Lawrence has not missed a beat, bringing about consistently fun arguing and camaraderie between the two. Rather than instilling any kind of deep and possibly melodramatic partner conflict, the film opts to give Lawrence's Marcus a new lease on life after surviving a heart attack. His newfound belief in fate and his own perceived invincibility is pretty silly, but makes a good juxtaposition to Smith's serious, more nihilistic views on his life. In addition to his accurate portrayal of panic attacks, we've got another one, baby! Their dynamic is the bedrock of the whole film, and for what it's worth, it does a fairly admirable job at keeping you entertained. There's even some kind of interesting stuff between Mike and his cartel assassin son Armando being forced to work together and even creating somewhat of a bond. Unfortunately, none of the other side characters really make much of a mark, aside from maybe 1 or 2 okay lines. The villain, portrayed by Eric Dane, isn't all that interesting in his motives, nor does he hold any kind of personal connection to our main characters. Gotta say though, there is a pretty memorable cameo by DJ Khaled, who gets crushed between 2 cars and explodes in under a minute. A fitting death for a man that won't go down on a woman. I was expecting the action to be bountiful here, but hot damn, am, I didn't know they were gonna try to blow my mind in the process. I'd heard of Adil and Bilal's game before, but seeing it in a theater is truly astounding. The camera is actively moving and soaring through each set piece, never usually settling for a dull shot composition. There's some truly stellar use of interior drone shots, seamlessly zipping around an enclosed space while allowing you to witness the carnage from angles you'd never think of. There's a great shootout in an art gallery that best illustrates this, but not only do they introduce these interesting techniques, they find ways to continue to build upon them later in the film. Some of these transitions are insane, created with true editing wizardry and big brain camera setups. There's a moment in the climax where the drone camera flies around, zooming towards a gun before seamlessly whipping around and giving you a first-person view of the one firing the gun. Then the gun gets tossed and we follow the gun up close as it passes to the next set of hands, whipping around to show their faces. It's incredibly impressive, doing so much more to elevate the action beyond just throwing in more guns and more explosions. While the action feels fresh and new, the story is definitely something you've seen before. Yeah, the plot is mostly just dressing to go around the action, but surely a film with bananas action could have come up with a more bananas narrative. It's got all of your classic tropes: dirty cops, money laundering, crooked politicians, albino gators. Looks like our directors are big fans of Annihilation with that last one. The film isn't always concerned with being compelling, rightfully so, but the moments of characters talking about how they're gonna hack something or how they can't trust anybody really sucks whatever energy was established beforehand. With the film going more over the top, I would have enjoyed a bit more subversions of the genre that played into the silliness. But for the most part, Ride or Die knows what it is and what we're here for. Shootouts, car chases, family barbecues. Okay, I think I might have actually watched a Fast and Furious movie by mistake. The fourth Bad Boys outing ups the insanity while sticking to the series' roots, for better or for worse. Smith and Lawrence continue to shine with their back and forth, while the camera work and VFX delivers on nutty action sequences that are not only impressive for the series, but the action genre as a whole. It teeters between cartoonishness and groundedness in a way that never betrays either realm, and while the story is about what you'd expect, I definitely did not expect to have as good of a time with this as I did. I do have one pretty glaring complaint here though, and I just can't forgive this one. Why the hell is the third film in the franchise called Bad Boys for Life? Bad Boys for Life. You had it right there, the easiest layup in history, and you blew it. It's okay, you can still call the next one Bad Boys 5 Ever, because that's one more than 4 ever. For my rating, I'm giving this film 3 Skittles out of 5. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Martini Shot. If you saw Bad Boys Ride or Die, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. If you like what you saw here and would like to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me across all social media channels. Those links are down in the description below. If you enjoy movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails, be sure to check out my website, martinishot.blog. Until next time, thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Live deliciously, but please remember to drink responsibly.